Hi friends, this is Dayna from Nellie DeeCee Crochet. This is a mosaic crocheted blanket. This one is the Costa Nova blanket by One Skein of Love. That's what it's called. That's what her business is called. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is this double border. This border is a double layer, and I'm going to show you how to make it. So I'm actually going to make it on my newest blanket from the same, oopsie, that was my hook, from the same creator, and this one is Fall Sweet Fall. So the border is going to be slightly different, but it's still a double border, and it's a fun new, new to me, fun new technique. But it took a little while to get the hang of it, so I thought I'd make a video to show how it's done. So here we go. Okay, I'm back. So to begin with, you're going to use whatever's the next size hook up from what you had been using on your blanket. In my case, I had been using a 7, which was a 4.5, and the next one up, next size up is an H. So first we are going to make sure we've got the bottom right corner if the right side up is facing. So we're going to make a slip stitch in our yarn. Then find the last, or maybe the first stitch of the blanket and make a slip stitch in the very first stitch. Chain 2, we're making the corner, and now go in the same stitch and make another slip stitch, and this makes your first corner. Okay, now because I really like how Anna, the creator of these patterns, I like how she makes, there's a chain 1 after the first connecting stitch on each row. It makes it easy to do this special border, special row. She calls this the special row because it is actually going to be a surface slip stitch row. So now we're going to go into the first chain 1 space of the next row and make a slip stitch. Whoopsie. And let me turn this a little. Then go into the next chain 1 space, make another slip stitch, and you're going to go all the way up the side and make your stitches as loose as you can so that your blanket on the edges is not going to pucker when you continue with your other rows. Okay, so make these slip stitches in that first chain space and make your stitches as loose as you can. And what you are making here is what's called a surface slip stitch, and we're going to make it all the way up. Then when we get to the corner, it's going to be very similar to our first corner, but there is just a slight difference. So when we get there, I'm going to keep going, but when we get there, I'll show you how we're going to make it slightly different from the first corner. Okay, I just have a few stitches left before the end. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. Trying to keep them fairly loose. Almost there. Just a few more. Okay, I think this is it. Move these out of the way. Let's see, so do the slip stitch, last slip stitch here in the last, or I guess it would be the first stitch. Chain 2. Now this time, instead of putting the second slip stitch in the same spot, we're going to put it in the back loop. Can you see that back loop of this first stitch? So slip stitch in the back loop. And now we have our second corner made. And now we're going to keep going around. Now we're at the very top of the blanket. And we're going to keep doing slip stitches, but this time in the back loop of the top stitch. See how we're doing? I hope we're staying in the middle of the, okay. So this is how we're looking so far. Don't worry about these ends, we'll take care of them, and they're going to be completely covered up when we do our double border. So keep a-going in the same method, back loop, slip stitches, and I'll see you before the next corner. Okay, we're back, and now I'm almost to the next corner. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that, which is slightly different from the other corners. Okay, just a few more. One more ringy dingy. Wait a minute, maybe this is, that is the last one. So slip stitch in the last back loop stitch, chain 2. Now we're going to slip stitch in the chain 1 space of that row. See how that is? Slip stitch. Okay, and now we're going to continue this next side row like we did the very first row. Slip stitching in the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so here's the first one. And remember to try to keep your stitches loose so they don't pucker. Let's see, these are, all right, here it is. And this one, and this one. So we're going to keep going down the row in the same way as the very first row. Okay, almost to the end of this next row. Where's my yarn? There it is. Move some of these out of the way. Whoops, let's get back in focus here. Hopefully we're in the right spot. That's why I've got this blue piece of tape to make sure I stay in the right spot. Okay, just a few more stitches here to the end. Slip stitch here. Do you have big plans? Whoopsie. For Thanksgiving, we're gonna go to San Antonio, see our kids and grandkids. I can't wait. Just a few more. gracious, I keep getting these. One more. Psst. Okay, back to our spot. And move these. So now we're at the end. I'm going to go in the first stitch of the next row, slip stitch, chain 2. This time I go in the back loop. I don't know if I'm doing that right. Hang on. Okay, go back in the same spot and slip stitch. Now we're going to make slip stitches in each, that one's a tough one, stitch all the way across. See, this is different. This was the foundational row at the very bottom of the blanket. So we're going to make slip stitches in the full bottom stitch. I hope that makes sense. Slip stitch all the way to the end. These are a little tight. And then we're going to slip stitch in when we get all the way across to the end. I've got to try to remember to make these a little bit loose. We're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 of the first corner. But I will see you at the end so I can show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of the last row, just the last few stitches, slip stitches, one more, and now I'm gonna find the chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch in the space of the chain 2. And then I would fasten it off, but I forgot to bring my scissors over here. So you fasten it off, and then you've got your special row of a double border. Sometimes this border is also called I think it's called an envelope border. Anyway, I hope this was a helpful video for you, and I'll see you in another one. Dayna from Nellie DeeCee. Bye-bye.